Hi friends! I have a project that I'm really excited to share with you today, and that is how to hang a curtain rod straight. And I feel like this is something that a lot of people, especially women, feel like they can't do themselves. They need to hire a professional. But it is possible with the right tools to do this by yourself and have success. So I want to show you how I do it. Love to hear your thoughts if you have other tips and tricks that are different from mine. So I have everything I need here to get started. A level, measuring tape, pencil, screwdriver, the screws that came with the curtain rod, and the hardware to attach to the wall. And because we live in a log house and we're dealing with wood, I'm not going to need to use studs. If you're dealing with plaster or drywall, you are going to want to use studs, but we're not going to do that step here because we don't need them. So let's get started. So the first thing I did was take down the old hardware because we're not going to need that. This is left over from the previous owners. And then what we're going to do is, I know that I want my curtains to be 83.5 inches from the bottom piece of hardware to match, one, the length of the curtains, which is 84, and two, the other curtains that I have hanging already. One of the things that I'm contending with that most people in homes are not is uneven logs. They are really challenging to work with, but I did successfully mount 3 other sets of curtain rods using this method, so I have hope and faith in myself that I can do it once again. You want to be careful with your ladder. That's on solid ground. I have a feeling you're just seeing a shot of my butt, which is unfortunate for everybody, but that's where we are. Okay, so we're measuring you want to try to get your tape measure absolutely as straight as you can, because that is going to affect the height line. This is one part that's easier if you have another human to help you, but you can do this by yourself. And again, I'm gonna draw an X star where I want this to go, and double check that I'm actually at 83.5, which I wasn't quite, so I'm gonna erase that. I was close, but I want to be precise. So that's my mark there. Just gonna remeasure this mark. Yep, so those are both 83.5. And the adage is measure once. The adage is measure twice, cut once. It's a good one. It is absolutely the thing to do. So I'm going to just double check my measurements, because there's nothing more annoying than doing all this work only to find out that your measurements are wrong. And this is spot on at 83.5. I'm just gonna double mark that, and we're good to go. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is make sure that I have my hardware and that it's going in the right direction. And with these pieces, you want gravity working in your favor, which means that it's going to slide in this way when it's mounted on the wall. It's going to be different for every rod you use. The hardware is going to be a little different, but that's how this piece is. So I know that I need this side facing flush to the wall and the railroad side facing out, and I want the curved part of the hardware down. So the next thing we're going to do is line this up curved side down with my line here, and I'm going to seat the hardware so that it's right on the line that I drew, and I'm going to draw holes in where I'm going to be drilling. So I have site marks for when I'm drilling, and you want to get your hardware as straight as you can when you draw these holes, because this is what's going to inform where you drill and thus where your screws are going to go. And make sure you can see them. Before you get your drill, so you're very clear about where you're drilling. And I'm just going to line that up one more time, make sure that looks good, and it does. So we're going to start. Now I have a drill here, and I've put in a bit that is appropriate for the screws we're using. So basically this is creating a pilot hole that is just a tiny bit thinner than the screws I'm going to be using that came with the hardware, with the kits. And I'm going to drill 2 holes where the hardware is going to attach to the wall and where the screws are going to go in. Okay, you want to make sure you're very secure on your ladder. And I like to support the drill with my body as much as I can, very much like pretend your body is a tripod. Anchor yourself as much as you can so you get a straight drill hole, and in we go. That's 1. And this is 2. You want to make sure that your drill is done drilling before you put it down. Very important, otherwise you're going to put holes in things that you don't want to put holes in. Okay, so I have my screws and my hardware and a screwdriver to attach this. Now you can use an electric drill to put these in. I don't have good luck with them. I tend to, for whatever reason, strip out the screws when I'm using an electric drill to attach things, so I'm not a big fan. My husband loves it and is really good with one, so if he's around, he'll use that, but I prefer to do this by hand, even if it's a little harder. And one trick to using a screwdriver and screws when you're attaching hardware is don't screw in tight one screw before you have both screws in, because sometimes you need to adjust. And I do a little bit of one and then a little bit of the other. And this is hard work because I used a pilot hole that is thinner, but that's important so that the screws actually stick to what you're putting them into. If it's too loose, the screw's just gonna come right out, and that's no good. So those are in, and that's nice, and that's in nice. So we have one in. This is where our level comes in. I'm going to attach this now. like so. And come over to the other side. And you want to make sure your ladder is nice and secure all the time. Don't skip that step. And I'm going to line this up to where I think I want to go, where I've marked it 83.5. And again, because we're in a log house that's old, things have settled, nothing is quite as it seems, and the level is going to help you be really accurate. So when I'm at 83.5 here, I'm just under level. You can see that's not quite perfect, whereas that is perfect, even though in theory it shouldn't be. So that's 83.5, and it's not quite level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase my original mark, get this level, and I'm using this as my indicator, and I'm going to make a new mark here, and this mark is going to be where the bottom of the hardware goes. So I'm right there, and I'm going to draw a vertical line where I want it to connect. Yep, so that's what we're going to do. It's crazy, but I learned the hard way in this house. You cannot trust your measurements if you want things to be level. They're a good place to start, a really important place to start, but they're not the end-all be-all. And we're ready to drill. You think it's gonna work? You think it's gonna be level? I hope so. I don't want to put extra holes in my ceiling. Sorry, I don't want to put extra holes in my walls. So let's hope I did this correctly. I have my drill, I have my ladder, I have my eye line. I'm going to make sure I'm braced, and in we go. It's 1, and this is 2. Two beautiful holes, and remember to let your drill completely stop before you put it anywhere else. I have my screws, my hardware, and my screwdriver, and I'm ready to get started. The more organized you can be with a project like this, the easier it's going to be for you. Know where your screws are, know where all your tools are. Again, we talked about having kits. I'm a big fan of having kits, little Tupperwares or boxes where all your things for one project are kept so that it's easy to find and go back to when you need to do that project. So I keep all my picture hangers in one place with the picture wire, and everything level in one box. All my rub and buff supplies in one box, and so on. Silver supplies in one, silver cleaning supplies in one place. And the older you get, the harder it is to keep track of these things, whether it's that you have so much going on in your life or your memory's going a little bit. And the more organized you are and the tidier you keep things, the easier it's going to be when it's time to do your project, because nobody wants to start a project and then be like, I can't find what I need to do the job, right? That is so annoying. So stay organized. You will thank yourself in the long run. Okay, so that's up and that's up. And are we level? I hope so. Do we look level? Fingers crossed. Here's the test. Yes! According to this, we are level. So, huge win. I'm gonna hang the curtains and we'll see how it looks. So the curtains are hung and I think they look really beautiful. Funny story about this room. When we moved here, I was completely against hanging curtains, but we actually have the issue with watching television in the afternoon and we can't see the screen, so we decided we did need to add them. And I'm really glad we did because I love them. I think that they just add another layer to the space and are really beautiful. So I'm so excited and thrilled to be able to share with you how to hang a level curtain rod, even in a crazy space like a log house.